mechanic real quick here.
I'm on the clock. What you want? Some wheels?
I'll pay you. Clock. Let's get a car.
I'll bring it by.
Quick. Thank you. I think you guys are gonna like this car. Very sweet paint job. I think you guys are gonna like this episode of Rob's Arcade. We are not doing the daily wheel spin. As you guys know, one of my biggest pet peeves is the fact that here in this beautiful city of Los Santos, you have to wait exactly 24 hours to spin the wheel. I think that is such a ridiculous rule to have here, but it's funny. I know people probably complain about a lot of different things here on this game and different games like Rockstar and Fortnite, and I really don't, you know, have a whole lot of complaints about this game other than the fact that you have to wait exactly 24 hours. I think they're talking to each other.
Okay, the rowing machine's free.
And those guys need to be doing what she's doing. But yeah, it's just such a stupid rule. Like, I feel like, so like last night I spun the wheel at like 11 o'clock or something like that, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. I should be able to wake up this morning, this beautiful morning here, 12 hours later, and spin the wheel again, but I can't. Let's go ahead and check out this beautiful car over here. I had a lot of fun. I think you guys, if you watched yesterday's video, you'll see that I had like a little cute black car in the garage as well that I wanted to do something with. And I asked for ideas. One of those things I didn't really know what I was going to do once I got in there, but once I got in there, they had some really cool paint stuff available, so I kind of went with like a mix of like the primary Superman colors or Spider-Man, because it has this like what they call the sticker bomb, but it looks very comic booky. From a distance, it almost looks like it could be like comic book print or something, you know? So I kind of went with like Spider-Man, Superman kind of colors. The wheels don't exactly match the blue. I might switch that up later on, but I just really like that nautical blue. Might be easier to match the blue to the wheels than the wheels to the blue of the paint job. But yeah, just a lot of fun putting this guy together. Hope you guys think it's cute. What do you think? I don't know. I think it's freaking dope. And then, again, once we get inside here, let's go ahead and hop inside. We got the neon kit, which is kind of hard to see in the daytime, but you can kind of see it there a little bit. Pops yellow. So, whoa, dude, chill. So we got the yellow. In fact, if I pull over here in the shade, you can probably see it a lot better. Yeah, so we got the yellow popping, the blue, the red. So this is kind of like going to be a continuation, or not kind of, it's going to be a continuation of yesterday's hangout with you guys, where I was talking about movies and stuff. And if you guys didn't watch yesterday's video, oh, he's taking a picture of my car. He's like, oh, that thing is dope. What if we'll take another picture of it? If you didn't watch yesterday's video, make sure you go back and watch that. It's the daily wheel spin, and then I decided to do a little conversation on movies just because I was packing up some DVDs of mine, and oh, look at this. They're gonna take a picture. That is so freaking cool. Look at that. I like that car. Is dope. I'm gonna sit here for another second. See if anybody else takes a picture. That is so freaking hilarious. Maybe they're not close enough. They don't recognize the baller status. Dude, check this out. Don't you want a photo of the car, my friend? Dude, chill. Just admire the car. Don't freak out on me. Oh, it's gonna be tough. But I was just thinking about my pops and like how he used to take us to the theater all the time growing up and all the movies we got a chance to see. And it was just really fun kind of sitting back and talking with you guys about all the different movies. And I kind of wanted to do a continuation because after I hopped off last night and was getting ready for bed, man, I just kept thinking of more fun and you know, I was just kind of getting into some of the memories I was having, you know, having grown up in the 80s and 90s and going to the theater all the time. Look. This is like a rundown, an old rundown, beat up theater here. But that was just a place we could go and just kind of like hang out with our friends, and it was just a lot of fun. Get some popcorn, some candy, and just kind of relax and catch the new movie. And you know, I do feel like the 80s and the 90s was just a great time for film. Just a really cool period for cinema.
Absolutely. She's family.
And when I left off yesterday, I started talking about, like, as I was getting older, like, you know, growing up with my pops, like, he definitely took us every weekend. Like I said, every movie that was worth seeing, from like Back to the Future to you know, The Nightmare Before Christmas, and all of these classics and blockbusters of olden day. You know, my dad took us to go see, and it was just always, you know, it was always a blast. You know, it's just people are always like, man, you've seen a lot of movies, and it's amazing how many of those films were actually in the theater and not just like on video or like watching them later on like HBO or something. But as I was thinking about it, you know, after I got off with you guys, I was kind of getting into like that date period when my dad was taking me and my girlfriend and dropping us off at the theater, and you know, going on some of my first dates, and I started thinking about, like, you know, some of the movies that I saw around that time, and you know, when I was like 15, 16, going to the theater with my friends was a big thing. You know, there was a theater in an arcade in the mall, and that was always a big thing. I had a buddy that I always went to go to the arcade with, and we saw a few movies, and then there was another group of friends. We really didn't. Wow, this theater is beat the jam up.
How you doing?
Wow.
You knew traffic was gonna be bad. Why didn't you plan ahead? I wish there was more time in the day. No,
I'm almost afraid to.
believe you standing me up again. You better not be with no bitch.
I'm almost afraid to park my car over here.
Oh, when you get
Wow, I
home,
wonder
I'm
what.
gonna smell your dick. So you best keep it in your pants.
What?
Every day is a blessing. I mean,
That's
Leo,
what I like to
keep
hear.
playing with me. You
This is. I wonder if they show different. My thing. I was just wondering if they show different movies in these different theaters. They have to. There has to be a different movie than the one I saw yesterday.
You bush bastard! You bush bastard! You ain't all that car!
Wanker! I'm not posh. I'm not a pikey. I'm not gay.
I think it's the same thing from yesterday.
My bloody gaydar is off
That's
the
weird.
chart.
Anyway, so yeah, like, you know, my friends and I would go to this mall and hang out at the arcade and watch different movies, and I was thinking, like, some of those were like Super Cop and like Independence Day. I was thinking, like, you know, what was that one movie where all my friends and I would go and see it like over and over and over again? And I think we saw Independence Day at least 3 times. I think we went back to the theater to watch Independence Day 3 times. That I guess it was that summer of 1996, and it was just so cool. Actually, I'm gonna look up. I think it came out just before. I don't want to be presumptuous. I know it was a 1996 release. My friends and I, we just gotten our license and everything, and let's see here.
Fuck me. Oh, Maureen, not
I'm
again.
gonna see the actual. I was hoping they would give you like a different movie for different theaters.
It's my nature to have sexual intercourse with all these men. It's not even like I enjoy it that much.
I
Here.
know. Emotionally inarticulate.
What was the actual
You being
release
a robot?
day?
A British man.
2
A
hours.
British
2
robot.
hours.
I want
Released
to marry
in
you. Maybe we'll
America.
robots
We know
together.
that. July
Maybe you can
3rd.
give up being a pet
Okay.
toy.
Yeah, so I feel like we saw it on July 4th. Like, I feel like that was a thing. Like, my friends and I went to go see it on July 4th, and then went to go see it a couple of times later. I thought for a minute maybe we went to go see it, like, before July 4th, and then we went back and watched it on July 4th. But maybe that was the big thing. Like, we hyped ourselves up to go see it. Trying to think of some other stuff. Let's see here. I think maybe The Rock was another one that me and my buddies really enjoyed. Yeah, that was a 1996 release. Yeah, I think we saw that a couple of times in the theater as well. I think we saw at least The Rock at least twice, and Independence Day 3 times. But like Super Cop and all of these things, like that's where we would go, man. We would go watch these awesome action films of the 80s and 90s, and that was just some of my favorite moments. Jurassic Park was another one we caught in the theater. You know, that's a big classic today, and we're coming up on the 6th film, getting the whole group back together, which is going to be freaking amazing. I can't believe they finally got the entire cast back together again for the final film. And I wish they would do something like that with maybe Transformers too, which if I have time, I'm going to give you guys my pitch for Transformers, and I would really love to know what you think about my little pitch for Transformers. But you know, I remember actually my dad, that was a film he took us to see, but we didn't go to see it with him. Like, he just kind of dropped us off and, you know, let us watch it. And it was fun because he took us to, I guess when we were growing up, there was a theater over by a mall called Cloverleaf Mall, which is probably not going to mean anything to you guys, but they took that mall down. That was like our mall growing up. If you watch Stranger Things, season 3, the Star Court Mall, very much like Cloverleaf Mall, like the way it was set up, the colors, the design, everything, very much like a typical 80s setup mall. As we got older, there was another mall. It was Chesterfield Town Center, which again probably doesn't mean anything, but it was further out, kind of, you know, like more in a huge shopping district, lots of stores and strip malls and stuff everywhere. And so that's where we would venture out to. That had the arcade and had the theater and everything, all connected. The theater to Cloverleaf was kind of like off back behind it. You know, it was kind of like hidden. And of course, you know, like there were video games inside of that theater, and there was even video games inside of the theater in the mall, but then it also had this huge giant separate arcade. It was a wonderland. It was really cool. It was the mall from Stranger Things season 3, but on steroids. You know, it was awesome. But my dad took us to the you know, movie theater out by Cloverleaf Mall. We were still kind of young, probably like 13, I guess, maybe pushing 14. I don't know. When did Jurassic Park come out? Let's look that up real quick. And it was really cool because that movie in that theater, you know, everybody, 1993, so yeah, I was 13, like all my friends went to, and I remember, like, you know, we would sometimes every now and again might bump into somebody, but that movie, everybody was there that day. Like, I think it had just come out, you know, it was like a brand new release, and it was a weekday. It was like a weekday. Everybody, for some reason, people might have been going, again, like seeing that movie multiple times, you know. But I remember my dad dropping us off at the theater to go see it, and there were a few of our friends that were like our age, but then a lot of like 16-year-olds and 17-year-old high school students that were there as well, that knew my sister from the neighborhood and stuff. So it was like all of our friends from like school and from the neighborhood were watching Jurassic Park, and I think that like speaks a lot about that movie, just, you know, that time and where everybody was. Like, you know, it was kind of like our Star Wars to a degree, to where nobody had seen anything like that, if that makes any sense. And then similar with what they did with Independence Day, you know, these were movies that, like, as they were coming out, like, you know, everybody does big dinosaurs and monsters and Godzilla and King Kong, and all of these things just kind of seem like, yeah, it makes sense. Like, special effects have kind of caught up, and like, why not do a new Godzilla movie with today's special effects and really do it up awesome? But, you know, movies like Jurassic Park and Independence Day, there was nothing like them at that time. Absolutely nothing. You know, they were, you know, special effect films, and you know, you had movies like Critters and goofy Space Invaders movies, like I talked about before. Then you had your Terminators and your Alien movies that were definitely, yeah, these are just the same movies. Man, I'm sorry I was hoping we would get better films. I wonder if they change. Maybe I'll hang out for a little bit longer because my time is wrapping up, I think, and I do have more to talk about. I don't want to cut short. Maybe we can see where this goes. Maybe we'll do that. The movies on GTA. We'll do like maybe a two-part look. But yeah, those movies just didn't exist, and now they're a dime a dozen. You look at stuff like I mentioned Mortal Kombat yesterday, not the one that just came out, but the 1994. When that popped up, man, with some of those special effects, it was kind of mind-blowing. Like being a video game fan and being a fan of Mortal Kombat and being 14 years old and seeing those characters come to life on the big screen, it was pretty mind-blowing being a kid back then. I'm not gonna lie. I remember my girlfriend at the time and I went to go see it. We both loved it. It was a cool kung fu movie too. It was just a really, really fun kung fu film. And then you add in some of the cool stuff with Scorpion and all of that, and it was just it was awesome. You look at it today, I don't know. Does it really quite hold up? Not so much. I see her texting my wife real quick.
Une créature qui ne sait plus s'il est un homme ou une femme. Quel est le mensonge et quelle est la moitié de la vérité?
So,
les choses doivent être aussi simples mais tellement compliquées avec toi, Antoine.
But yeah, like I said, but those were kind of the effects that we were dealing with. Lawnmower Man, it's so cheesy kind of when you look at that stuff. So then when you look at movies like Jurassic Park, even Back to the Future, and Independence Day, and some of the really big blockbusters, you really have to look at them and go, man, wow, yeah, how did they pull that off? That's pretty stunning when you look at it. That's pretty amazing when you look at it. And those actually led to so much of what we have today. Again, you look at the world. There's a great documentary on Star Wars, which I've seen before. It was on Disney Plus. It was included in one of the Blu-ray or DVD releases of the Star Wars original trilogy. And there's a great documentary on Disney Plus that takes a look at not only the making of Star Wars, which again I've mentioned in the video. If you didn't see yesterday's video, please go back and watch yesterday's video because there's so much I touch on in that video that's going to be very relevant when I'm talking about today. But that was one of those documentaries and those films that when I went back and I watched that, it made me appreciate not only the movie more, but it was man, I don't know what I like more. I don't know if I like the actual story of Star Wars itself or the story of how this was made, because it's just almost it could have not happened. It was so close to not being a thing and not being a movie. And when you think about that and how important it is in everybody's life, I mean, there are people who pledge their existence to the Jedi way. Me and my buddy, we just went to Disney Friday, and part of that was because there's a new lightsaber out, and we were kind of hoping just to get a look at it. We weren't even sure we were going to buy it. We were just maybe kind of hoping to look at it up close. Can you take it out of the case? Can we hold it real quick? And that was, where where we were on Friday because of Star Wars. So, to think about it not being a thing is pretty crazy. And what I guess where I'm going with this is what was available cinematically before Star Wars is, again, some of these films are classics. They still hold up. But some of them, especially the science fiction films and some of that, are just like, they're pretty cheesy. They're pretty goofy looking, you know? And now we look at science fiction as like what we can do and what it can be, and not just science fiction, but action movies and storytelling, you know, using the cinematic medium in general. You know, there really are no limits, and I think that's something that like George Lucas established when he was making Star Wars, so that he had an idea and a story that he wanted to put together, and he didn't let what people had told him before as like what your limits are to making a film, and he pushed the envelope. And you know, again, that's exactly what, you know, some of these films growing up in my time were doing as well. You know, it's as I got older, and started driving, and my sister and I started driving, we actually spent a lot of time just going to the movies ourselves. I remember some of the films we saw were like the first Hulk movie, and Hurricane with Will Smith. I went to go see Men in Black with her and my cousin, and I think a friend of mine. And you know, it was something that didn't like just end because our childhood ended. It's something that, like, you know, we carried on throughout, like, you know, our teenage years and into our, you know, young adult years, and then even would make plans to, you know, go to the theater and see things together. My sister, huge Harry Potter fan, and as much as I appreciate Harry Potter and you know, the storytelling aspect and what it is, it's not necessarily my cup of tea. I've seen all the movies. I really enjoyed Fantastic Beasts as well. I think that was really cool. But, you know, it was one of those things that, like, my sister needed the book when I would get her the books when they came out. And what is this? Oh, I'm so sorry. My wife's texting me. But I would take her. I would get her the books. I would buy her the books, and then I would take her to go see the movies. And it was a lot of fun. And we would do that. Like, even like when I was working overnight. Like, I remember, like, I'd work all night long, right? Try to sleep for a few hours. So let me walk you through this. Try to picture this. You work all night long, right? You get up at like 7 in the evening. 7 o'clock in the evening. You go to work. You get off at like, you know, 6, 7 in the morning, right? You're going to work at like 9 o'clock at night. Get off like 6, 7 in the morning. Come home, try to take a shower, get to bed, you know. Your sister gets up, gets ready. She's ready to go to the movie like around noon. So you get like a few hours of sleep, and then you immediately go to the movies. Sometimes I wouldn't even get to sleep. I would just like stay up. We would go see the first showing at like 10 o'clock, and I might even fall asleep like while I'm watching the movie, but you know, that's something we would do together, and it was always fun. We'd always have a great time. And like I said, you know, that's just like something my father for a mother. God, who would dedicate that to their mother? It's the same thing, right? It's just the same movies. That's so ridiculous. It's just so weird. Well, I haven't seen this one from the beginning. I guess I should see how the story starts, right? So goofy. But yeah, I don't know. Something my dad just instilled on us from a young age. You know, he did a lot with us. He got us into comic books. Well, me. I think my sister was. Well, he got us both into comic books. I stayed with it. My sister, not so much. But he got us into. Oh, my alarm is going off. It's R. Oh, yep, that's R4 telling me, dude, it's time to shut up. Time to wrap this up. All right, look, I'm gonna come back. I do want to kind of conclude all of this. Because like I said, I talked yesterday a little bit about, you know, how my dad, you know, took us to the theater all the time and kind of like walked us through chronologically from, like, you know, the first movie I saw, which like I said, if you want to know what the first movie I ever saw was, go back and watch yesterday's video, and then kind of walk through, like, you know, going to the movies with my dad and my sister growing up, to going to the movie with, like, you know, just me and my sister, and then girlfriends, and then you know, my guy friends hanging out, getting our license, and going to the arcade and hitting the theater up, the date scene, doing all the date movies and stuff like that, and just kind of been going through chronologically, just kind of like walking you through my life and movies. But it all kind of started, like I said, with my dad and him taking us to the movies almost every weekend. Like I said, almost every single weekend we would go to the theater. It used to be a really cheap thing to do, believe it or not. It was one of those things, like, you're probably thinking now, like, how did he afford to go to the movies back in the day every single weekend? But we'll talk about that too when I come back and kind of wrap all this up. I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out, and please shoot me a little thumbs up. That's always, always, always appreciated. Just let me know you guys are here. Please comment, you know, let me know about some of maybe your favorite movies. If you can remember, like, the first movie you saw, your first date movie, you know, anything, your favorite horror movie, any of those things. Always really cool to hear from you guys. Just let me know again that you guys are watching, paying attention. And we'll always reply in kind, no matter what, you know. It might not be right away, but I will reply in kind. If you know somebody who likes movies and whatnot, or you just think somebody might get a kick out of just listening to me talk about movies while watching this goofy stuff here, please hit that share button for me, get it out there. And even if whatever, just put it on your Facebook, you know. Sneak your mom's phone, hit subscribe on her phone, hit share on her phone, whatever. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe, guys. We got tons of cool stuff like this, just me talking about random junk. New game Fridays. We got midweek breakdowns where we hit the comic shop and, you know, pick up new books for new comic book day. You know, toy unboxings, Lego reviews, all kind of stuff here in Rob's Arcade. So hit subscribe so you don't miss any further adventures. And remember, this is not goodbye, simply to be continued. Until next time, don't spend that quarter anywhere else, and I'll be right back with the wrap-up in just a few moments, guys. Later.